Chadwick Boseman has been honored with the Hollywood Walk of Fame star posthumously, and Netflix, together with Comcast and Paramount, has tendered their bid for the Warner Brothers the Discovery Empire. And a Nigerian author has written two books with the hope of reshaping Nollywood. We'll be delving into all these stories and more right here on the Film Mandate. My name is Papa Otu, and stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the Film Mandate, where I bring to you movie news, reviews, and reactions, both from the African front and the international scene. And thanks for joining me for this episode of the Film Mandate. And yeah, our very first story, we have the posthumous honoring of a king that we all were touched by his life whilst alive, and it's none other than the king of Wakanda, even in real life, that is Chadwick Boseman. And this event was held yesterday that had closest of friends and family and colleagues in that he has worked with attend this very event. And this event, indeed, I must say, was very emotional. I watched the entire video. I mean, not the live, I couldn't watch it live, but I watched the entire video on YouTube. And I can tell you for a fact that was really an emotional moment, quite difficult for all those who attended. And I wish I mean, there's a lengthy article that I wish I could read that had Lupita Nyong'o talking about the life, how Chadwick's life inspired all those who worked around him. And I must say, it was quite a difficult moment watching it. Chadwick, Ryan Gosling was no, sorry, Ryan Coogler was choking up the entire moment when he was given his speech to honor him. And you also had the likes of what was it called, Viola Davis, who spoke very profoundly of him when she was working with him on, I think, his last movie, that's Uma Raimi's Black Bottom, and spoke of how the conversations they were having throughout was that of a man who knows that his time is up and is ready to transition to the heavenly plane. And that was quite a touching moment of speech that you know they gave to honor him. And also the wife, that is Simone, what had some wonderful words to say about the husband and how courageous and bold she was in all that she said, and finally unveiling the Walk of Fame with um, two of the brothers of Chadwick. Uh, Let me see if I can get a picture up. Yeah, and unveiling the star with Boseman's brothers, and it was quite an emotional moment, I must say. Let me see if I can take a moment to read just bits and pieces from an article written on the CNN Entertainment website, and I feel like perhaps it's good I read just a couple of them. So Viola Davis said Davis noted that they worked on their Oscar-winning movie Ma Rainey's Black Bottom just before he passed, and said Boseman was always trying to engage me on the set, talking about the cup of success and having types of conversation that she believes people have when they know they possibly are transitioning. So that is Viola Davis saying that. And the late actor, I mean, she said in her tribute was a mighty, mighty elixir that sort of stirred up the alchemy that we are all in search of, which is meaning. That is very powerful. So she went on to say that I celebrate him today, and I say to him, I hope all the angels in heaven just sang him to a beautiful rest. Davis said, and I thank him for what he left behind in me, which is a burning amber that always guides me to a higher meaning of my work and my purpose. Yeah, so Chadwick also, I mean, Coogler also had this to say about I mean, first let me even tackle what um what's it called, Viola Davis said. And I remember when Chadwick Boseman was interviewed during one of the red carpets. I don't know whether that is of Black Panther itself, but in an interview, uh, he did, he did say something. And so the interviewer did ask whether he would, I mean, what is the expectations of, as it Avengers Endgame or so, and was, how he feels about all that. And he did candidly say that I'm dead. And at the time, most people didn't understand it. It felt like everybody was like, "Oh, yeah, is this that's an odd joke to make?" But he wanted the world to finally know that he will be transitioning, and that is quite something, knowing that your time is up and be bold and make such a statement. He was trying to say farewell to everybody, and indeed he accepted his fate that his time is up and had to make the best of it. And no wonder throughout the works that he did, the last works from Black Panther through to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, he gave not just a fraction of himself, but gave everything that he had in him. And obviously, that was the experience Viola Davis had with him whilst on set shooting the Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And even at the time he was shooting with them, none of them knew anything about it. And it is something else. It is something else. And you should actually get a time to watch the video and its touching. I'll see if I can leave the link in the description below. But let's move on to what also Ran Coogler said. I mean, after reading what he said, I will now tell you what I think about it all. So Coogler Boseman's friend who directed him in the Black Panther Marvel film asked for the attendees' understanding as he emotionally talked about the late star. When I think of Chadwick Boseman, I think of three things: leadership, teaching, and generosity. Coogler said he was an incredible leader. The famed Cines director said Boseman was ageless and joked he didn't know his age until he went to one of his birthday parties. He also told a story about Boseman sneaking past stars like Stallone, Michael B. Jordan, who was present at Thursday's ceremony, and others to get into Coogler's hotel room during a big press tour for the 2015 film Creed. And Boseman, Coogler said, wanted to meet with him to talk about working together on Black Panther, and managed to evade even the press that were present. I was so impressed by that, and I asked him how he got past everybody, and he smiled and said, "That was the Panther." Coogler said, chuckling. And listen, if you watch the entire video, you would understand what I'm trying to talk about. I finally understood why they just couldn't recast at the time Chadwick Boseman to be in the sequel to Black Panther, because I mean, watching the video, and this wasn't just the first time, but I think at the time, was it Michael B. Jordan or Van Coogler, one of them was receiving their star, and he ended up giving a speech about it all. And not just that, but several other um, public appearances that he had to give speech and that he had to speak about Chadwick Boseman. He was always choking up. He just couldn't hold back his tears. And from the shot you can see on the screen, that was quite an emotional moment that he couldn't help but share a tear. And it is something else. And I must tell you of the truth that watching this made me understand why they couldn't recast Chadwick Boseman, because I think in certain sense it will feel like maybe they are betraying him, or I mean, there could be a myriad of reasons why they did that, but I understood how difficult it was trying to work without Chadwick Boseman in the mantle of Black Panther, and that is something else. And he cried throughout. And one of the things that made me understand was the depth of friendship and the how impactful the death was, not just on Vancouver, but evidently Vancouver even more so, and everyone that was on set. And from all the images, you could see that his loss was, has took a toll on them during the shoot of the Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and I can understand why they didn't want to recast him. So honestly, this I didn't obviously even the one who would have been recast to be in the role of Black Panther would have felt quite awkward, especially if the person is taking in all the energy, how everybody seems very sad about it all. So I can understand that. And I think if I'm to draw any comparison one way or the other, I feel like the way they honored him in the movie Black Panther Wakanda Forever feels very similar to how Paul Walker was honored in Fast and Furious 7. So I can understand. It's entirely different. In Fast and Furious 7, they had to, he was still shooting whilst, in the middle of the shoot when he died, not on set necessarily, but he died whilst the production was still ongoing. So they had to continue the story. However, in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, he had died prior to the production. So one way or the other. I understood perfectly well as a result of watching this particular um, uh, honor why Chadwick decided to do it that way to honor him, you know, to immortalize him on the screen, and that I finally understood why they chose not to recast him. So I can understand. And honestly, it is heartbreaking. It is something else, and I'm glad I saw what's it called, Michael B. Jordan there as well, who also couldn't hold back but share like much love for um, that is Simone. Let me see if I can bring it up because yeah. So that is him, the sharing, much love for the wife of Chadwick Boseman, and Letitia Wright as well was there to lend her support. And listen, when you work with people in close proximity or you share a bond with people in that close and they leave, it breaks you. It's I mean, I can't express it, but having lost a couple of people in my life as well, some of them were not close, others were close, others were relations. Listen, it does something to you that it may not even take, it may take years to get over. And I can understand the team's effort in going through that. Pardon me, it looks like my internet connectivity is troubling me. It doesn't usually do that, but pardon me for that. And well, I can understand what they had to go through to make that happen. But I mean, I'm glad that they have honored him Unfortunately, he passed before he was honored, and I would have hoped that he was still alive when he was being honored. But life has a different plan, or I mean, life here has a different plan for everybody. So yeah, let me know what you think with regards to this honor given Chadwick Boseman, and whatever your thoughts may be, kindly leave it in the comment section below. And we can only but say that God continue to console or heal the broken hearts of all the lives that were touched so immensely that they always can't help but share a tear whenever they have to talk about him. So yeah, this wraps up the first story for today's episode of the Film Mandate. My internet is terribly bad this today. Pardon me for that. I wish something. I mean, I don't know why it's acting up this way, but yeah, pardon me for that. So I don't know the way the internet is behaving. I don't know whether I'll be able to complete today's episode of the Film Monday, but let me see what I can do briefly to resolve this issue. It shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so at all. But I think it's a matter of the connectivity. Yeah. So let's see. Let's keep on going if we'll be able to finish it squarely. So my second story has to do with the well, it doesn't look I'll be able to. It doesn't look like I'll be able to complete. So, pardon me. I have to bring this episode to an end. Such a bad internet connectivity. So, um, yeah. So I'm trying to push through, but it's not working. So, pardon me, but I have to bring this episode to an end. My name is Papa O2, and this has been the Film Mandate. I will see you soon.